I want to play the old-timey photographer with the twiddly knobs. So, Cambo Actus, if you know what it is, you probably know what it is. That's circular reasoning. If you know what it is, you probably know a little bit about it. If you don't know what it is, it's probably a fucking mystery to you. There's not an awful lot online about this. It's a very niche product. It's quite an expensive product for what it is. It's kind of like a tilt shift adapter. If you saw any of my stuff about my like tilt shift lenses or my Hasselblad tilt shift adapter, it's kind of that, but a little bit better because it's kind of modular. I wanted this when I was in, I learned about it when I was in uni doing my masters. Did a masters in photography 2014, 2015. And it's also kind of the reason that I ended up in the Sony ecosystem, because I think it was a technician that told me about this, and they were saying they might get one. At the time, I was borrowing their 4x5, their studio camera, and I then went and bought a studio camera, a monorail Sign-On Norma, which I had a lot of fun with, but ended up gathering dust. Back then, I didn't have a way of like mounting a camera onto the back of it without spending an inordinate amount of money. And film for 4x5 is super expensive if you are doing anything, especially if you've got to get someone else to develop it. So they were going to get one. They said, oh, we're going to get one and we're going to buy a couple of Sony mirrorless cameras to go with it. They're specifically the A7R Mark I. And so I bought an A7R Mark I that had come out a couple of years before, a year or so before. And this system was kind of like, I don't know if it was because of that, because you can use the Canon DSLRs on it. With a decent full frame mirrorless camera attached, it allowed you to do quite a lot. And I'm pretty sure you can do almost everything with the like a DSLR, but the extent of my knowledge at the time. So I bought the camera and I've bought this bit. I wish I had at that point, because I'm pretty sure they were about £800 back then. This cost me a little over 2,000 once you've got all the extra bits for it. I went with the Mamiya lenses, mainly because I'd seen people have good luck with these, and the other option was was like 4x5 lenses which protrude out the back. You have to like make sure it's the right one. There's not a lot of content about this on YouTube, and the only person that I've seen that like mentions it frequently is Tin House Studios, Scott. He sort of alludes to it a lot, doesn't really talk about the specific like product, the SKUs of it, the different kind of options that you have when you buy into this system, which there are many, and there are also competitors like the Sign-R, which is more expensive, which is wild. But he does talk about what it is for, what he uses it for, and it was kind of based off his videos that I picked up the Mamiya, because the other option was to buy the Cambo 90mm. Didn't want to spend that much money because I'm not sure 90 is exactly where I want to be. I am constantly at 100mm, 105mm on the 24-105 when I'm shooting products. So maybe it's the 110 that I want. Who knows? Might be the 65, might be the 50. Yeah, so that's why I want to make a couple of videos about this. I want to talk about the different parts to it, the different models that they do, because they do one for the Fuji and the Hasselblad medium format, like mirrorless bodies. They do a digital back version, and then they do some which have more movement. This, I think, it's the cheapest one. That's why I got it, because I can't afford anything more. I'm pretty much wedded to the sort of Sony system at the moment. I can't see that changing much in the future. The other thing is this will work with Canon EF mount. I can put the Blackmagic on it if I need to do like raw video, but for the most part I can put the A7S III on here and get really nice video in exactly the same full frame sort of format as the A7R III, which is what I've got on here at the moment. That's the whys and the the wherefores. What does it do? Well, it allows you to independently move the sensor, the camera, and the lens, which allows you to do tilt, shift, swing, rise, fall, that kind of stuff. You might associate this more with like tilt shift lenses. I always thought, before I got into product photography, I always thought of them as architecture things, because that's where I learned about them in the architecture world. I used them when I was doing architectural photography, and you're talking like the 17, the 24, and the 50, 45 as it was at the time. The Canon ones, really good lenses. I kind of wish I'd just stayed with them, to be honest. Instead of moving around, jumping to Hasselblad. I used a Hasselblad tilt shift adapter on the old Hasselblad that I used to have. Loved that thing. I had to get rid of it. It wasn't really fit for purpose for me. So that independent movement of these allows you to control where the plane of focus is, and it allows you to pick which part of the image circle you're going to use. What's that all mean? Well, I'll go into depth on it in another video, because I think each of the movements could probably do with its own separate installment. But for now, let's focus on the fact that this is a really competent product photography setup. I've got a couple of weeks of doing these like elevated pack shop type things, working with a company that I always work with, Paper Republic, working alongside a company called Halley & Co, which are doing the creative direction on this shoot. And what I'm bringing to the table is my style. And I really want to lock that in for this shoot, because it's going to be stuff that we're going to have to repeat probably for like 3 years. What I want is something that's got a lot of control, that's got a specific kind of look to it. It's clean and it's repeatable. And that's why I thought that now's the time to jump into this. I just sold the Hasselblad system with the HTS 1.5, I think it's called. That's their tilt shift. This is better. I'm going all over the place at the moment, but this is better than that because, in my opinion, for what I do, because it's the camera that shifts. And that's important to me, because then you really are picking what portion of the lens image circle you're going to use. If you're using a tilt shift lens, or like the Hasselblad adapter, where the lens is moving, the camera's locked in place, you're changing what that image circle is. Minor differences, but stuff that you'll notice when you're doing this kind of work. You frame up with the lens and you move the sensor to choose which bit of that image circle you want. Also, this is just a really nice piece of equipment for focusing, mainly doing manual focus on these like product shoots, these hybrid product shoots. So it's really nice to be able to dial it in. Another thing, mine isn't a Cambo sadly, but the studio stand, salon stand there, is a bit of a mare to move around in any precise way. So being able to kind of just dial in a little bit of rise, a little bit of fall is really helpful for just finessing those final few millimeters. The other thing, and this is weirdly, you can get adapters that do this for regular lenses, but one of the things that really I've always wanted to be able to do, especially for this kind of photography where we are doing, where's the thing? Especially for this kind of photography where it's like, okay, we're gonna need some portrait, we're gonna need some landscape. I don't want to be moving the tripod, the camera, reframing it. So this allows me to, camera's in horizontal position, it allows me to do that. Keeping the sensor in exactly the same spot, but rotating to a horizontal shooting position. Just a really nice thing to be able to, like a quality of life on set, just to give the client more and quicker, which is kind of what it's all about these days. Quality wise, probably not that much better than, I've not even got it here with me, not that much better than the Canon EF macro that I've got, which is the old type. I don't use that a load, but I do use it sometimes. So it's not massively a quality increase. One of the things that I dislike with somewhat of a passion is focus stacking. I just find that it's a tedious process that can go wrong as much as it can go right. And if it goes wrong, it fucks up the whole flow of the shoot, I found anyway. Because it'd be different if I had a dedicated digi, you know, to be at the computer doing it, but it ends up being me that does it. I'm just not working at the level where I've got an assistant and a digitech. So I've not got the budget for a digitech and an assistant, just doesn't happen. So I find that I'm the one doing the focus stacking. That takes me away from doing other stuff. It just ruins the flow of it. And so being able to control the focus, sometimes you have to do it. Being able to control the focus, the plane of focus, will help to avoid having to do that. Especially when we've got 2 weeks to shoot a few hundred images, several hundred images. It's gonna be crucial that we don't have anything that slows us down like focus stacking would. So being able to set this up and shoot, because this is the thing, we're going to set this up, we're going to shoot 8 SKUs of the exact same product, so 8 different colorways of the exact same product. That's a relatively fast process. You dial it in, you get the shot, that takes the time, but then you switch out the product in between. You check it, you shoot the next one. You check it, you switch out, shoot the next one. You check it, you shoot. You get what I'm saying. If you have to focus stack with that, if you've got say you've got 12 images, which is kind of like on the low end for how many you might need, it's going to be a lot more work. It's going to take a lot more time. And the last reason really for buying this is that, and the reason I wanted it in the first place, is I really enjoy that kind of photography. I think there's 2 kinds of photography. There's the rifleman and the watercolorist, and every kind of photography falls into one of those. I like to be the watercolorist, where you're slowly crafting an image. The rifleman is like the picking off images. Wedding photographers, event photographers, street photographers, anything that's like the thing's happening and you take a picture of it. But then on the other side, there's product photography. I always think of food in product. I know there's different specialties, but if you've got the right people on set, they work out the same. Architecture, landscape, that kind of stuff. There's maybe a little bit of an argument to say that like nature is in the middle of those two, because you kind of have to sit and wait, but you are inevitably going, there's the thing. And I think this lets me sit in that world of the watercolor photographer, the sort of crafting every part of the shot, being able to do something manually. I miss the 4x5, the monorail that I had. I liked how each thing had to be, like the shutter had to be cocked. The focus is, it's got 2 stages. You've got the big movements which are there, and then you're finding it, dialing it in. So it's an experiential thing as well. It's nice to have tools like this that feel like you're, doing something. It's not just the camera getting to do everything. And I think in a world of, AI and automation, it's kind of nice that I get to do this and play about with stuff like this. So I'll do a proper breakdown of like the different models, because that is definitely something that the internet is missing, YouTube is missing. I'll do a bit of a deep dive into each of the movements and what they do, and I'll look at why you might have different lenses. And I think it might be interesting. I don't do much architecture these days, but it might be interesting to they do a 15 and a 20 mil, maybe rent those and see what they're saying, and do some architecture stuff with them, because I think that could be quite interesting. So yeah, any questions about it, let me know in the comments and I will try and answer them as best as possible. But for now, I bought a toy that I've wanted for over 10 years at this point, and we'll find out if I made a mistake or not. It'd be funny if I do this next shoot and they're like, no, actually we prefer it just on the that 24 to 105 that you bought second hand for 500 quid years ago and probably makes you the most of your money. That's probably what's going to happen. But I want to play the old-timey photographer with the twiddly knobs. Right, I'll see you in the next one. Laters.